Hello everyone, I hope you're all keeping well, healthy and happy. This is a quick video to say thank you very much to all of you guys, my subscribers, for helping this channel to grow in the way it has, to have had the influence that it has had as well. But also to let you know that I am going to be on hiatus for an extended period of time because of some unforeseen circumstances that have come up. These are personal matters relating to family that I can't go into. And so that has to take precedence, that has to be my priority right now. And it does mean that I won't be able to put out the frequency and level of work that I was before. When I will return, I do not know exactly. It could be the end of June, which is a fair bit away, but it could also be sooner than that. I honestly can't give you a time frame on this just because of the nature of everything that's going on. But as I say, I just wanted to say thank you to all of you guys so far for doing the great work that you've done. And you know, it's been amazing to see the impact that we've had together, you guys and myself. You know, it's amazing to see that, because the information that we were putting out there, nobody else had ever put it out there before, and folks are soaking it up like a sponge. You know, that's really what's happening. The awareness just went through the roof. And even those folks that were controlled opposition, that didn't want to touch stuff with a barge pole, are now being forced to acknowledge that they are controlled opposition, or being forced to actually, they're being forced to speak about those things. So that's a big deal, you know, that's a major change. But one of the problems with just being a lone operator, shall we say, right, is that I've been doing the majority of the work myself, which is not a problem. I don't mind that. I'm a hard worker anyway, as you've probably noticed. But that does also mean that when things happen like this, like what's just gone down recently in my own life, then I don't have anyone else to fall back on. You know, I don't have a team working for me like certain alternative media stations and channels and what have you, and that means that then there's nobody there to take up the mantle when the time comes, really. But as I say, I will return, and the channel will continue the work it was doing. So have no fear of that. It's just a case of having to wait it out for the time being until I know more about what is happening in regards to this matter, right? So. Yeah, I won't say much more than that about it. So, yeah, it's been amazing to see what we've done. It's been amazing to see the growth of the channel. It's been amazing to see the impact as well. And as I say, I just wanted to say a heartfelt thank you for every one of you who has contributed to the success so far, right? And we haven't even really started yet, okay? We're only starting the work of reconnecting human beings with their own spiritual cores. Okay, we're only starting with that. We haven't finished that work. And that is something that needs to be done. Because what's lacking right now in the world is the spiritual understanding. Okay, the power brokers in the world right now are afraid of one thing, and that is human beings becoming aware of their spiritual essence. Okay, spiritual power. I was going to talk about this, but I didn't have the time to do an in-depth video on it, and I won't be able to go into it here either because I'm limited on time. But spiritual power far outweighs any other type of perceived power, like political power or money power, because these two things are based on illusions, right? They are transitory, they are temporary, whereas spiritual power consists of many things, which include force power and also temporal power. A lot of people don't know what that means. Temporal power is the moral authority over earthly matters. But what's happened is that various religious institutions have co-opted that phrase. They've made people believe that temporal power resides only with a religious order. It doesn't. Okay, every human being has the right to use their or assert their moral authority, provided that it is based and grounded in natural law, right? If you're using that moral authority, if you're exercising your freedoms to defend your life, your liberty, your property, or the life, liberty, and property of someone else who's having their rights violated, then you are asserting moral authority. Okay, that's true morality. And that is you using temporal power. Okay, now the power brokers obviously don't want that, because if that happens, then they lose their power base, right? That's what they're frightened of. But where that comes from is one's own spiritual core, right? Those values are inherent in all of us. They are present. Even though some people might deny that and say morality is learned and thus relative, I'm afraid that what you'll find is, although morality can be learned and perhaps has to be learned, it's learned because of the very physical, natural laws which exist, not because of socialization, as the socialists and communist types claim, right? Because that's their central thesis and claim, which is why they become amoral or immoral or moral relativists, right? There's a whole myriad of things that can happen as a result of one form of thought. Anyway, as I say, I don't have time to go into it in depth here, but that is what I am fundamentally trying to do: reconnect people with their spiritual essence, their spiritual core, to help them to recognize their own sovereignty. You are a sovereign being. No institution, no government, no bank, no corporation has the right to tell you what they want you to be. Okay, they don't have the right to, well, they have the right to tell you what they want you to be, but they don't have the right to make you what they want you to be, if you see what I'm saying. Okay, they don't have that right to force you to conform to their standards, which are artificial standards, which are not universal laws. Okay? Yeah, that's and I'm going to take the channel probably in a slightly different direction when I return, to focus more on the personal. I've already been doing that a little bit, as you've probably been able to tell, but not wholly so. So that's what I am hoping to continue doing. But as I say, I can't do that right now. My priorities, my focus has to be on solving immediate problems, okay, that are around me and the people that I care about. Once that is done, once that is sorted out, then we will continue going forward in a direction which will hopefully help people to become a little bit more spiritually aware, also a little bit more just generally awake, I would say, to the realities of what's happening, you know, because too many people really aren't. They think that they're coming out oftentimes of these states of hypnotic suggestion only to fall into another state of hypnotic suggestion. It's a little bit like that movie Inception, you know. That's all too common, unfortunately. You know, this notion that you'll leave the, let's say, politically speaking, right? And I'll make this really quick because, as I say, I'm limited in time. But this notion that politically you can leave your left-leaning doctrines, which is right and fair, and one should. But then what happens is those folks end up clinging to the very worst elements of what they call the far right, which is actually still on the left. It's just to the right of Stalin, right? Which is pretty funny to see. This is part of the reason why, as I've talked about before, the political compass is screwed up in people's minds. They don't know what the hell anything stands for anymore. To be conservative with a small c means to want to conserve an already tyrannical, dilapidated system that doesn't want to reform itself, that doesn't want to change itself because it sees benefit in being evil, in being tyrannical, in exerting its influence beyond its rightful authority. Okay, so the point being that yeah, people fall into traps all too easily. You know, they fall into these political traps, they fall into religious traps, the New Age movement traps, the spiritual traps. They're all out there, and people are getting caught up in all kinds of netting whilst they're trying to escape the maze, right? But what we're trying to do here, what I'm trying to do, what you guys are trying to do, is to give people the keys to get out of the prison, to escape the prison, right? That's the whole purpose of this, because you're unjustly imprisoned by this particular system that is unduly exerting influence, which it calls power, in ways that diminish your freedoms, diminish your ability to be your true self, to assert your moral authority, your temporal power, you know? So, but anyway, I'm going to leave it there for this video. As I say, we will speak again. It's just a question of whether that will be sooner or later, but that depends on circumstances. So take good care of yourselves for now. Thank you very much for watching and for, as I say, sticking with the channel and doing what you've been doing. And God bless every one of you. Take good care of yourselves, and thanks again.